Codd Sinclair back again with another episode of Referee's Discretion. If you guys have checked out our Facebook page recently, you will have seen the update that I have decided to postpone the WWE Evolution review. I couldn't give it the time and respect that it deserved, so it was a difficult decision that I had to make. I do plan on finishing, though, in the very near future. With that being said, though, for today's episode, if you didn't happen to catch the name of the video yet, we're taking a look at the PWI 500 list released this year by Pro Wrestling Illustrated. I picked this month's issue up in the store the other day. When I came home, put it on the dining room table, sitting at my desk in front of my iPad, my laptop, contemplating on how to move forward with the Evolution episode, when I looked over and caught a glimpse of the magazine. And I know that every fan has their cup of tea, and I think this is a really good open discussion to see what the committee of the PWI writers, editors, and contributors got right and wrong. This is actually the first year in PWI 500's 30-year history that Jushin Thunder Liger isn't on the list due to his retirement. In 2008, PWI launched the top 50 female wrestlers, which was then expanded to 100 women in 2018. When that list is released, I will review it as well. There will be women on the PWI 500 list that we are going to be looking at. These women are ones who have excelled against opponents of any gender or who held traditionally male or gender-neutral championships. All right, so here are the rules. The evaluation period was July 1st of 2019 through June 30th of 2020. The criteria were win-loss record, technical ability, influence on the sport, success against the highest grade of competition, success against the most diverse competition, and activity. The requirement to be considered for a ranking was at least 20 matches during the evaluation period or at least one match in 7 separate months. Exceptions were made for wrestlers on track to meet these requirements prior to the pandemic. Also, wrestlers mentioned in hashtag speaking out allegations were considered by the committee on a case-by-case basis. I will not go into detail about any one wrestler's allegations against them whatsoever. My reactions will be grouped by the tens to start, then fluctuate as we get through the list. I can't mention everybody because this would be a multiple hour-long video. I will do my best. I also don't know everybody on this list, to be completely honest with you. So I will speak on the individuals that I know, and I won't speak of anyone that I am unaware of. If it's somebody I miss and I do mention in the list, leave it in the comments, and I'll be sure to give you a shout out. Here we go, starting 1 through 10. Number 1, Jon Moxley. Number 2, Adam Cole. Number 3, Chris Jericho. 4, Drew McIntyre. 5, Tetsuya Naito. 6, Kazuchika Okada. 7, Cody. 8 is Seth Rollins. 9, Kofi Kingston. And 10 is AJ Styles. Since leaving WWE, Moxley has found a career resurgence. He is absolutely deserving of this number 1 spot. Nothing against Adam Cole. Cole's had a great year. Fizzled a little bit towards the end of the evaluation period. But they're right there. I still consider Adam Cole to be one of the best wrestlers in the world, hands down. Jericho at number 3, he wasn't even ranked last year. But he had an incredible evaluation period with the AEW World Championship. If we're looking at influence on the sport, though, looking at this top 10, I thought Cody would be a little higher. AEW Dynamite started in October of the evaluation period, and his activity with the TNT Championship was great for American Pro Wrestling in general. He brought in free agents, guys from other companies and organizations. He made sure that that people who deserve to get a look gotta look. And I think that does more good for the business. As one of the people that already got a shot at Cody's TNT Championship, Eddie Kingston, who was previously signed with NWA, is now All Elite and has signed with AEW. As far as last year's number one, Seth Rollins, he's been a primetime player on Raw and is always on TV and pay-per-views. Kofi at 9 is a little high for me. He was WWE Champion until October of the evaluation period. Then he lost the title to Brock Lesnar in seconds. He's never seen the main event scene since then and has since gone back to being a tag team competitor. All right, 11 through 20. Number 11, Keith Lee. 12, Brock Lesnar. 13, Kenny Omega. 14, Roman Reigns. 15, Nick Aldis. 16, Bray Wyatt. 17, Kota Ibushi. 18, Rush. 19, Braun Strowman. 20, Jacob Fatu. Keith Lee at 157 last year to number 11 this year. And it's already a shame that he's underutilized on Raw. He should be he is a main event talent. He should be in the main event scene. I don't know how much more you need to see of him. I don't want to see 20 matches with him and Randy Orton. I just don't. It's not something I want to see. There's plenty of opportunities on either brand, but they stuck him on Raw, and I feel like he's going to get stuck with Randy Orton for 20 matches. Lesnar at number 12 is an absolute joke. He does fall into the criteria of one match every 7 months. He wasn't ranked last year, shouldn't be ranked this year, but if he falls in within the criteria, it is what it is. But you look at how they rank you, and Brock Lesnar at 12, and you'll see as we go on the guys that should be ranked higher than him. It's an absolute travesty that Brock Lesnar is number 12. Put down in the comments where you think Brock Lesnar should be actively rated. Continuing on with the list, Kenny Omega has been active through the pandemic and received a 6-star rating from Dave Meltzer for his match with Adam Page versus the Young Bucks at AEW Revolution. Roman Reigns didn't work from March until the end of the evaluation period, but before that, he was as dominant as he has ever been. Bray Wyatt last year ranked 169, as The Fiend this year was the best part of WWE programming. Granted, they killed his character with the Hell in a Cell match versus Rollins and the Saudi Arabia show where he lost his title to Goldberg, but Wyatt's character work has been nothing short of incredible. Rush last year at 137 is a main event star with Ring of Honor. Jacob Fatu last year at 306, and MLW getting some love here, which I absolutely adore. Moving on to number 21 through number 30. 21, Will Ospreay. 22, MJF. 23, Aleister Black. 24, Kento Miyahara. 25, the Ring General Walter. 26, Shinsuke Nakamura. 27, Andrade. 28, Jay White. 29, Roderick Strong. 30, Tommaso Ciampa. MJF should be much higher than this. He was 135 last year. He's arguably one of the top heel professional wrestlers in the world today. And he has the in-ring ability to prove it, as shown at Revolution in 2020 versus Jungle Boy. I think Walter should be higher as well, but I think his ranking was victim of the pandemic. Roddy jumped from 82 last year and has shown he's more than capable of being a future main event player in NXT. All right. We're looking at number 31 to number 40. So 31, we have PCO. 32, Daniel Bryan. 33, Adam Hangman Page. 34, Bandito. 35, Finn Balor. 36, Kaito Kiyomiya. 37, Kevin Owens. 38, Hiroshi Tanahashi. 39, Pac. 40, Hiromu Takahashi. PCO last year at 71 made a 40-spot jump with a Ring of Honor world title run. Debray was 2 last year, but his inactivity recently might be in relation to being with his wife for the birth of his second child. Hangman at 33 seems a bit high, but his tag team partner, Kenny Omega at 13, makes them the highest ranked tag team in the entire field. Pac, who is 66 last year, has put on high quality matches during the evaluation period for AEW. He has not been with the company since the pandemic began, but that just goes to show you how much stock he carries in AEW. He's in a Walters situation, essentially. Hiromu being at 40 is incredible, considering he broke his neck in 2018 and is considered one of the favorites to come out of his block in this year's G1. All right, number 41 to number 50. 41, Baron Corbin. 42, Suwama. 43, Rey Mysterio. 44, Bobby Lashley. 45, Matt Taven. 46, Johnny Gargano. 47, Go Shiozaki. 48, Randy Orton. 49, Jonathan Gresham. 50, Ultimo Guerrero. Gargano, who was 6 last year, dropping this far isn't really that shocking. While still incredibly gifted in the ring, his heel work is not nearly as good as his face work, and it shows with the ranking. All of Orton's matches are the same, and I honestly didn't expect him to be this high. Even though he dropped 10 spots from last year, this is predominantly because of the strength of his competition, and him being in WWE is a tremendous boost. Gresham jumps from 368 last year, and Guerrero jumps from 264, both having strong comeback years. All right, looking at number 51 to number 60. 51, Brian Cage. 52, Phoenix. 53, Shingo Takagi. 54, Zack Sabre Jr. 55, Darby Allin. 56, Ricochet. 57, Sami Callihan. 58, Kenta. 59, Lance Archer. And 60, Drew Gulak. Since Brian Cage's debut in AEW, he's been a little underwhelming. I think it's a touch too high here, but profile matches against John Moxley have definitely helped him. Darby jumps from 394, and I'm not a Darby guy, but the guy throws caution to the wind every time he gets in the ring. And I do think his offense is reckless at times, but he's over with the fans and occasionally has good matches. Ricochet falls from 21, but also another guy being brutally underutilized on WWE's main roster. Sammy jumps from 142, and part of that is from his strong championship feud with Tessa Blanchard. Kenta wasn't even ranked last year, and another reason why his jump to New Japan was much needed. Check out my NXT TakeOver Fatal 4-Way review to learn more on that situation. Lance Archer jumps from 282, and I personally think he's going to be the guy to take the AEW World title off of John Moxley. All right, looking at number 61 to number 70. 61, Sammy Guevara. 62, Takashi Sugiura. 63, AJ Gray. 64, James Storm. 65, Shane Taylor. 66, Naruki Doi. 67, Nick Gage. 68, Willie Mack. 69 is Otis. 70, Jeff Cobb. Guevara jumping from 381 is impressive, and he's another young, incredible talent that AEW has on their roster. I do think that he may have been a couple of spots higher had it not have been for the Sasha Banks incident this year. James Storm at 64 wasn't ranked last year, but has found a career resurgence with NWA. It recently came out that he was actually supposed to debut with WWE after this year's WrestleMania, but that was put on hold due to the pandemic. Shane Taylor jumps from 253, who is another gem in Ring of Honor. Moves well for a big guy, and he could be a future main eventer for them. The first time us at PW saw him was in Baltimore at a Ring of Honor show against Marty Scurll. This was the first time that I personally had saw him, and I was I was pleasantly surprised at how well he could move and work with a much smaller opponent like Marty. Continuing on with the list, Otis was 179 last year, with his jump primarily having to do with his Money in the Bank victory this year. Jeff Cobb falling a bit, probably due to his inactivity through the pandemic, but is still a top guy wherever he goes. All right, taking a look at numbers 71 to 90. 71, Tomohiro Ishii. 72, Karen Noir. 73, Matt Jackson. 74, Pentagon Jr. 75, Nick Jackson. 76, Dragon Lee. 77, Effie. 78, Kylie Ray. We'll get to that in a little bit. 79, Ray Horace. 80, Matt Riddle. 81, Pete Dunne. 82, Apollo Crews. 83, Tessa Blanchard. 84, Orange Cassidy. 85, Sonata. 86, Jay Lethal. 87, The Miz. 88, Marty Scurll. 89, Davey Boy Smith Jr. And 90, Velveteen Dream. Kylie Ray and Tessa Blanchard are the first women on this year's list. Oris, at 333 last year, doing extremely well as a tag team competitor in Ring of Honor. Apollo Crews jumps from 130 and got a U.S. title run on Raw. Right now, he has had, I believe it's 14 straight matches against somebody involved with the Hurt Business. Not something that I would particularly book, but you've got big, stronger names in that group, so that will undoubtedly help him towards next year's ranking. Orange Cassidy jumped from 224. He is red hot with the fans, and he can turn it on whenever he needs to, and he can flat out go in the ring. Sonata falls from 42. Lethal falls from number 16, and The Miz falls from number 35. Davey Boy Smith, though, jumps from 269 and is absolutely putting in the work in MLW and should get a shot at the title very soon. Marty Scurll falls from 52, and Dream falls from 26, most likely due to their allegations. Here we go, number 91 to number 100. 91, Humberto Carrillo. 92, Ricky Starks. 93, Jungle Boy. 94, Ace Austin. 95, Dolph Ziggler. 96, Karrion Kross. 97, Scorpio Sky. 98, Alexander Hammerstone. 99, Leo Rush. And 100, John Morrison. This grouping is full of young athletic potential. Carrillo jumps from 359. Starks wasn't even ranked. Jungle Boy from 280. Ace from 243. And Hammerstone from 376. Ziggler and Morrison both fall from 46 and 29 respectively. Leo Rush jumps from 260, but he did take a break from wrestling to make music, then came back and is now working on the indies. All right, we are a fifth of the way through. From here on out, I will give you the number grouping, and then as I go through, just to make this a little quicker, I will just give you the wrestler's name in order. It's going to be a lot quicker. I'm sorry if this is an inconvenience for anyone, but this is how I'm doing it. So now we are at number 101 to number 120. So 101, going on, we have Big E, Tetsuya Endo, Myron Reed, Dominic Dijakovic, Luchasaurus, Warhorse, Hiroki Goto, Damian Priest, Angel Garza, Alley Cat, Tom Lawler, Christopher Daniels, Frankie Kazarian, Murphy, Colt Cabana, Timothy Thatcher, Jordan Devlin, Masato Tanaka, Tai Chi, and Eli Drake. Big E and Dijak could be future world champions if booked properly on the main roster. Both do incredible work, but with Dijak now with Retribution on Raw, probably nothing coming in the short term. Luchasaurus and Warhorse with huge jumps from 434 and 480 respectively. Priest jumps from 166, but will probably be higher next year with his current NXT North American title run. Garza jumps from 258, and many see him as a young Eddie Guerrero. Lawler a little underranked here, but jumping from 152 is good for MLW. Murphy falls big here from 33. One of my personal favorites, Masato Tanaka, jumps from 285 and is still going strong in DDT. All right, looking at number 121 to number 140. Starting at 121, we have Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish, Shorty G, Eddie Dennis, Ilya Dragunov, Santana, Cesaro, Ortiz, Daga, Konosuke Takashita, Evil, Eddie Edwards, Jake Lee, Cameron Grimes, Shuji Ishikawa, Mark Haskins, Dustin Rhodes, Joey Janela, Niebla Rosa, Brian Pillman Jr. rounding out at 140. O'Reilly and Fish drop a bit, but with O'Reilly getting a singles push recently, it looks like his next ranking may be higher due to it. Cesaro slips from 74, but is currently one half of the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. Santana and Ortiz are also down here, only slipping a little bit though. Evil really slides though from 61, but thinking about when the evaluation period ended, it includes almost none of the New Japan Cup to current day. So next year he should crack the top 100. Seeing Dustin Rhodes on this list is incredible. He wasn't ranked last year, and he is putting in great work in AEW. Pillman leaps from 411. He was PWI Rookie of the Year in 2019, has looked strong in MLW, and has even appeared on AEW Dark and Dynamite. Alright, so we are 141 to 160. Starting at 141 is Bushi. 142, Yuji Okabayashi. 143, Mr. Anderson. 144, Sean Spears. Got caught up in it. Moving on from 145, we have Tyler Bate, L.A. Park, Daisuke Sekimoto, Moose, El Hijo de L.A. Park. 150 is Tama Tonga, then Tonga Loa, Austin Theory, Minoru Suzuki, Montez Ford, Elias, Sami Zayn, Angelo Dawkins, Danhausen, Killian Dane, and 160 is Faye Jackson. Bushi with a big jump from 265. Mr. Anderson wasn't ranked last year, but is doing good things in NWA. The chairman of AEW is just a few spots ahead of the former chairman of WCW. Some tag team love here with the Gorillas of Destiny and the Street Profits. Minoru falling from 47 is a little shocking. He is still one of the top talents in New Japan with 32 years under his belt. Theory fell from 80, has bounced between Raw and NXT, but hasn't had enough time to flash what has made him special and evolve. Elias and Sami Zayn fall from 110 and 70 respectively. Elias has been healing from a torn pectoral, and Zayn's fall is probably due to not competing during the pandemic and having his title stripped. Everybody's favorite Danhausen is ranked after not being on the list last year. All right, looking at 161 to 190. At 161, Daisuke Sasaki, then Kip Sabian, Flip Gordon, Sonny Kiss, Dax Harwood, Cash Wheeler, Kushida, Xavier Woods, Jake Atlas, El Phantasmo, Trey Miguel, Mance Warner, Trish Adora, Katsuhiko Nakajima, Josh Briggs, Jake Hager, Trent Seven, Bobby Guns, Rowan, Eric, Ivar, Marco Stunt, Jimmy Uso, Jay Uso, Mark Quinn, Ethan Page, Isaiah Cassidy, Drago, A.R. Fox, and Naomichi Marufuji. Getting some tag team love with FTR, the Viking Raiders, the Usos, and Private Party all in this block. Neither members of Private Party were ranked last year, so to see them on this list this year is great. They're both they're a part of one of the better young tag teams that AEW has. Kip Sabian jumps from 247, but now being paired with Miro, he has a chance to take the next step. Sonny Kiss jumping from 358, Kushida falling from 77. El Phantasmo, Trey Miguel, and Marco Stunt were also not ranked. Both Usos end up falling over 100 spots this year, more than likely due to inactivity and due to one of the Usos being in some legal trouble. All right, 191 to 220. 191, Isaiah Swerve Scott, Rob Van Dam, Chris Dickinson, Flamita, Josh Alexander, Aerostar, Brody King, Richard Holiday, Joe Gacy. At number 200 is Susumu Yokosuka, Juice Robinson, Chris Bay, Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, Dexter Lumis, Hernandez, Samoa Joe, ACH, Anthony Green. At 210 is Jordan Oliver, Hiroshima, Robert Roode, Isami Kodaka, Dez, Wentz, Yuko Miyamoto, Eddie Kingston, Dr. Wagner Jr., Homicide, and Jay Briscoe. Swerve was at 246 last year. He's athletically gifted in the ring and should be looking to score some gold here soon. Rob Van Dam, Chris Bay, Dexter Lumis, all not ranked last year. Huge falls for Juice Robinson, who is at 32. Samoa Joe at number 11. And Robert Roode at 51. More tag team love here, though, in this bracket with the former LAX and the current Good Brothers. All right, moving on. 221 to 250. 221, we have Alex Shelley, Trent Beretta, Chuck Taylor, Drake Maverick, Mark Briscoe, T-Hawk, Alex Zane, Stu Grayson, Show. At 230, we have Rich Swann. 231 is Yo, Evil Uno, David Finley, Jake Christ, Ricky Shane Page, Bronson Reed, Vincent, Fabian Eichner, Shima, Marcel Barthel. At 241, we have Kenny King, Barbaro Cavanario, R-Truth, Volador Jr., Zach Gibson, Matt Hardy, James Drake, Akam, Ray Czar, and at 250 is Rhino. Shelley, Maverick, Rhino, all of them weren't listed last year. Big drops, though, for Kenny King, R-Truth, and Matt Hardy. Representing for our tag teams, we have the Best Friends, Sans Orange Cassidy, the Dark Order, Stu Grayson and Evil Uno, Imperium, the former NXT Tag Team Champions, and AOP. Bronson Reed has a big future in NXT. He does great work for a big guy, and he showed it in the North American ladder match at the last TakeOver. All right, halfway through. So we have 251 to 270 now. 251 is Mustafa Ali, Eita, Caristico, Max the Impaler, Matt Angel, Mark Andrews, Chris Brooks, Flash Morgan Webster, Ben Kay, Toru Yano, Rhett Titus. At 262 is Wolfgang, Will Hobbs, Mark Coffey, J.D. Drake, Tony Deppen, Shug D, TK Orion, Gato, and at 270 is Zeus. A big drop for Ali here, but now that he's the leader of Retribution, maybe this will give him an opportunity to increase his ranking. Will Hobbs, Willpower, not listed last year, but has already made the jump from AEW Dark to Dynamite and looks to be a big part of their future. Shug D, also known as Pineapple Pete, not listed last year, but was on AEW and Dark a few times, and even had a quick feud and an eventual squash match with Le Champion, Chris Jericho. All right, going from 271 to 300. Starting at 271, Madman Fulton, Leon Ruff, Ryusuke Taguchi, Mystico, TJP, Cousin Jake, Jado, Zicky Dice, Eric Stevens, Ken Shamrock, Mojo Rawley, Tom Latimer, Royce Isaacs. 284, we have Cody Deaner, Cedric Alexander, Masaki Mochizuki, Togi Makabe, Shigehiro Iri. At 289, we have Dalton Castle, Anthony Henry, Oni Lorcan, Mao, Jimmy Lloyd, Danny Burch, Mike Bailey, Davey Vega, Matt Fitchett, Bateman, Laredo Kid, and at number 300, we have El Hijo del Vikingo. Ruff, not ranked last year, actually just signed a developmental deal with WWE. He was involved in some squash matches, though, for them during the pandemic era. Taguchi falls from 122. A little too far, I think, for him, but he's still a big part of their six-man tag in New Japan. Zicky Dice not listed last year. Arguably one of the hotter free agents right now out on the market. He beat Ricky Starks for the NWA title, and then when he requested his release, had to relinquish the title. Cedric drops from 59, and it seems like because all he did during the evaluation period was that he was a glorified enhancement talent. Now that he is with the Hurt Business, hopefully he can catch a break. Castle drops from 161 and losing in the first round of the Pure Championship tournament, even though it was to Jay Lethal, probably won't help his stock for next year. All right, big jumps here now. We are at 301 to 340. So at 301, we have Yoshitatsu, Meester is Jr., Matt Cross, Golden Magic, Koto Brazil, John Silver, Hot Sauce Tracy Williams, Gran Guerrero, Euphoria, Paul Robinson, Colby Carino. At 312, we have Alex Reynolds, The Blade, Jack Evans, The Butcher, Angelico, Titan, Solo Darling, Sean Dean, Chuck Mambo, Shane Mercer, Jason Cade. At 323, we have Kakoa, Willow Nightingale, Matthew Justice, Spike Trivet, Thomas Santel, Timmy Lou Retton. At 329, we have White Mike, Caleb Conley, Dominic Garini, Silas Young, Mansoor, El Soberano Jr., Pinky Sanchez, Ridge Holland, Darius Carter, Low Key, Ruby Reyes, and at 340 we have Taiji Ishimori. Our good friend M-Dog wasn't even ranked last year. We were really excited to go see him pre-pandemic in Yorktown, Virginia with Next Generation Wrestling. Be sure to check them out on Facebook. They've got some really great content on there. More tag team love, representing the Dark Order, Reynolds and Silver, the Butcher and the Blade, and the Hybrid 2. Hot Sauce is one of the better technical wrestlers in Ring of Honor, but just didn't have a whole lot to show for it this past year. Sean Dean is a promising prospect being featured on AEW Dark at the moment. Silas Young drops from 332, but outside of his tag team with Josh Woods, his highest profile match was a world title loss in October versus Roosh, but that is it. Mansoor will eventually be higher, I think. He just needs a televised... He just needs more exposure and just a little bit of momentum. Ridge Holland, not ranked last year, was just put in a storyline on NXT where someone paid him to beat up Adam Cole. Unfortunately, though, in action on the following NXT, he did suffer a knee injury and it did not look good. Loki dropped low, no pun intended, from 65, mostly because of inactivity. As your public service announcement, please remember to wear your masks and don't be low-key when you go out in public. Continuing on with the evaluation, Ishimori has been up and down during the evaluation period, which is why he dropped from last year's ranking of 104. All right, 341 to 380 now. Number 341, Daniel Makabe, Tyson Dux, Bad Luck Fale, Kobe Durst, Chris Hero, Christian Casanova, Kevin Bennett, Casey Navarro, Black Taurus, Kevin Koo, O'Shea Edwards, Tariq, John Davis, one called Manders, Matt Makowski, Tommy Dreamer, Dasher Hatfield, 358, Matt Tremont, Travis Huckabee, Lindsay Dorado, Orlando Colon, Grand Metalik, Darius Lockhart, El Terrible, Still Life with Apricots and Pears at 365. Keller, 367, Jinder Mahal, La Bestia del Ring, Santos Escobar, D-Rogue, at 371, Kaito Ishida, Dark Sheik, Riddick Moss, Sal Renaro, Mark Davis, Isaiah Frazier, PB Smooth, Kyle Fletcher, L. Lindemann, and at 380 is Arturo Ruas. Bad Luck Fale drops from 139, partially because of recent inactivity and also because of his poor performance in last year's G1. Chris Hero drops from 295, but Hero's biggest problem is himself, and it always has been since he got to NXT. He's a strong, capable worker, and when he's in shape, he can go. He never wanted to put in the work when he was with NXT, and now, because of it, the E found him expendable, and he's a free agent. O'Shea Edwards, the big bad kaiju, is a diamond in the rough. Whoever snags him up has to put in a little bit of work, but what they'll get in return is an unstoppable machine. Tommy Dreamer has been a mainstay for Impact Wrestling for a while now, being the host of Wrestle House and putting on passable matches along the way, none of which have him taking a chokeslam whatsoever. Lucha House Party comes in here, and they were one of the many victims of WWE's 50-50 booking. Ginger drops from 143, and if he can just stay healthy, he has a chance to be back in the 100s next year. Santos Escobar should be much higher here as well. He is an incredible talent and is destined for great things in NXT. Moss, not listed last year, is most notable for getting the call-up from NXT, beating Ricochet, and then holding the 24/7 title for a cup of coffee. All right, we are at number 381 to 410. Number 381, we have Trey Lamar, RJ City, the Ojmo, Shotaro Ashino, Lee Moriarty, Wheeler Yuta, Cassius, Man Like DeReese, Trevor Murdoch, Joe Hendry, Dan Maloney. At 392, we have AC Mack, Eric Cannon, El Macias, Chuck O'Neal, Atticus Kogar, Wardlow, Avalanche. 399, we have Ricky Morton. 400, we have Noam Dar. We have Rex Lawless, Austin Gunn, Robert Gibson, Blake Christian, Rohit Raju, Falaba, Jeff Cannonball, Calvin Tankman, Jamie Senegal, and at 410 we have Logan Easton LaRue. Lamar is still a bit green, but not being ranked last year to now, we should see him on the rise in the future. We did see Wheeler Yuta recently. He wasn't listed in last year's PWI 500, but he was in this year's Ring of Honor Pure Tournament. Trevor Murdoch was also omitted from last year's list, but he is now the new NWA National Heavyweight Champion. Local hero Joe Hendry is an absolute star. I think he can improve in the ring just a touch, but he has all the makings of someone you want to see on your TV screens. Wardlow hasn't been able to show much in AEW this year, but what he has shown is very encouraging. We have the Rock and Roll Express on here with a combined 86 years of experience. Austin Gunn, whose dad is Billy Gunn, is another AEW talent who will develop and be an asset for them in the future. Rohit Raju drops from 261, but is currently the X Division champion. That should definitely give him a boost for next year. Alright, number 411 to 440. Number 411, Green Ant, Chikara, Devin Monroe, Nick Iggy, Benjamin Toll, Jimmy Jacobs, Cabana Man Dan, Billy Dixon, Gary J, Trip Cassidy. At 421, the Beer City Bruiser, Tony Nese, Kerry Awful. At 424, Brian Malonis, Titus O'Neil, Gino Medina, Mike Verna, Alex Colon, Watts. At 430, we have Shane Dawson, Dave Dawson, Pero, Cody Hall, Justin Smooth, Johnny Swinger, KTB, Maximus Khan, Dak Draper, Absolute Andy, and at 440 we have Jun Akiyama. The Zombie Princess falls from 251, but he is not nearly as active as he has been in years past. But it's great to see that he is still going after 21 years. The Bouncers are here, but they are criminally underrated. I hope they get more love in the tag team rankings. From what I can tell on the surface, Tony Nese has the largest fall all the way from 45. That is a 377 spot drop. After his Cruiserweight title run, he bounced around 205 Live, main event, and then went 0-3 in this year's NXT Cruiserweight title tournament, which was eventually won by Santos Escobar. Titus is this low because he just wasn't as active as others. Scott Hall's son Cody cracks the list this year after being left off last year. The Swingman, Johnny Swinger, has been in Impact Wrestling, mostly on the losing end of things, but is still looking great this late into his career. Alright, we got number 441 to 470. At number 441, we have Cheeseburger. Following him, Cole Radrick, Peter Avalon, Zack Ryder, Shelton Benjamin, Connor Mills, Sonny Defarge, Troy Hollywood, E.M. Demorest. At number 450, we have Daniel Garcia. Following him is Dan Barry, Fred Yehai, Joey Ace, Gredo, Laney Luck, MVU, Ashton Starr, Casanova Valentine, Tony Gunn. At number 460, we have Raul Mendoza, then Preston Vance, MVP Montel Vontavious Porter, Marcus Al-Ani, Dick To Go, Rampage Brown, Anthony Bowens, Airwolf, QT Marshall, Matt Sydal, and at 470, Logan Creed. Peter Avalon hasn't won a match yet on AEW programming, but he is entertaining with Leva Bates. Ryder has had a Nice-esque drop all the way from 100 last year. He had a 5-match agreement with AEW as Matt Cardona, but he hasn't popped back up since. Benjamin drops from 194, but he looks to get back to that as a member of the Hurt Business. We last saw Fred Yehai in the Ring of Honor Pure Tournament, and he looked absolutely great. Grado being back on the list this year, this is awesome. He is always a crowd favorite, especially with his entrance. MVP back on the list also, now as the leader of the Hurt Business and one of the best promo and mic guys that WWE has. Dick To Go's biggest achievement was aligning with Evil, then both of them joining Bullet Club and defeating Naito for both of the titles. Matt Sydal was recently in the Casino Battle Royale, but all anyone will ever remember about that is the slippery top rope, and we found out on Being the Elite was caused by Michael Nakazawa because he was left out of the Casino Battle Royal. Here we go. We are at number 471 to the end. 500. Here we go. Number 471, Ashley Vox, PJ Black, Layla Hirsch, Devontae, Akira Tozawa, Yuji Nagata, Delmi Exo, Saki Akai, Brendan Vink. At 480, we have Boomer Hatfield, followed by Isaiah Broner, Marco Estrada, Tyler Breeze, Isaias Velasquez, Ava Everett, Stephen Wolf, Lee Johnson, Brian Johnson, Killian McMurphy. At 490, we have Dan Champion, followed by Molly McCoy, Alan Angels, Danshoku Dino, Moonshine Mantell, Ricky South, Mikey Nichols, Shane Thorne, John Campbell, Mysterious Q, and at number 500 is Dan the Dad. PJ drops from 140 and was also in the Ring of Honor Pure Tournament. That should boost him back up from this year's ranking. Tozawa barely makes the list this year after being at 102 from last year. So another Nice-esque dropping. And it's all WWE booking. They do not book their cruiserweights or their smaller guys well. There are a couple of exceptions, but strictly cruiserweights, they don't book them well at all. Tyler Breeze drops from 232, but considering him and Fandango are the current NXT Tag Team Champions, that ranking should go up. That was a lot. I know, guys. Once this video posts, I will go back, and then in the comments below, I will put timestamps in there. So if you want to get to a certain point, you can just click and go. But overall, just doing something different on the show was absolutely fun for me. It also got me to read a little bit. So PWI 500, all right? It is on newsstands until November 10th, okay? November 10th. On the back of every one, you can send in and you can subscribe. If you don't want to do that, they do have their online website. It is www.pwi-online.com. That I will put in the comments below. So those are my thoughts on this year's PWI 500. Who do you think they ranked too high and too low? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Also, maybe leave who you think will be number one for next year. Remember to watch WrestleCast live every Monday and Thursday on Facebook and YouTube, and listen on the go with Apple Podcasts. Check out the inaugural episode of Pat Lilly's Creative Control, and keep an eye out for the debut of the Dean of Old School, Dwight Parker's show, Do Your Darn Homework. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and follow Podcast World Order on all social media platforms. If you like what you see and what we're doing and would like to support Podcast World Order, you can find us on Ko-fi at the link in the description box below. For our next episode, if you watched WrestleCast on Monday, you heard the announcement that we would be kicking off our 4-part Trick or Treat series. For the next 4 weeks, myself and a member of the WrestleCast crew will be watching a Halloween Havoc from the WCW days and collaborating on a review for them. So the first part in our 4-part Trick or Treat series is going to be WCW Halloween Havoc 1992. Our special guest enforcer for the episode will be the man that we slighted last time. He got his pick first this time. So coming back, Jeff the Hitman Hall. We are really excited to have him. From everyone here at Podcast World Order, thank you for watching. And remember, at the end of the day, it's referee's discretion. I'm Codd Sinclair, and we'll see you next time.